This news update is brought to you by...
Say hello to Shanta. Shanta is an entertainer, but she also loves to be entertained, which is why she has Flow TV brought to her through Flow's 100% fiber to the home network. It's great for busy Shanta because she can control the time she watches her favorite shows, play back from the start in case she missed it, or even record with cloud video recording. And with her Flow services bundle, enjoys much more for much less. Visit any Flow retail outlet, call 1-800-804-2994, or visit discoverflow.co to find out more. One-of-a-kind connection. This is how we flow.
From the Barbados Today studios in Warrens, this is your morning news update for Wednesday, July 6. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good morning. Residents of Messiah Street, St. John are praising authorities for removing 76-year-old Harriet Codrington from her home. Yesterday, personnel from the National Assistance Board relocated the frail elderly woman to the geriatric hospital after home care personnel could not get into the house to assist the blind woman. The move comes 2 months after the board had investigated reports that Codrington was being abused by her caretaker. Our Ernesta Henry has been tracking the story.
The resident who did not want to go on camera told Barbados Today Harriet Codrington should have been removed from the home ages ago, insisting that she was not receiving proper care. One resident went as far as to suggest that the caretaker should be charged for neglect and for making the elderly woman suffer. Back in May, the National Assistance Board, which had investigated allegations that Codrington was being abused, found no such evidence. But yesterday, Chairman of the National Assistance Board, Dr. David Durant, told Barbados Today a decision to move the 76-year-old to the geriatric hospital was made after home care personnel who were assigned to provide meals and care for Codrington were not allowed to enter the home on several occasions. He said when they entered the house with police, they found a frail-looking Codrington alone, who appeared to be malnourished. Senator Durant said Codrington was happy to move and appeared at peace and relieved. Ernesta Henry reporting for Barbados Today.
In other news, the June 30 deadline for the planned merger of the Customs and Excise Department into the Barbados Revenue Authority may have passed, but Finance Minister Sinckler assures the move is still on. In fact, he says the process, which has been marred by setbacks, is now at an advanced stage, and he's confident they will soon be meeting with unions and workers to seal the deal.
Issues pertaining to appointments, I know that the interviews have gone for various levels of customs officers, Customs Officer 1, Customs Officer 2, and most recently Assistant Controller of Customs, Customs Officer 3 as well. People have already started to receive letters of appointment. So once that process is completed, and we sit down and review it to see if there are any kinks, any issues that may have arisen, anybody who may have been overlooked that ought not to have been. You know, those types of things come up because you're dealing with hundreds of employees. Once we've done that with the unions and we're clear, then we believe we have nailed that one down and we can go on to some of the other issues.
A major bone of contention has been complaints from customs workers and their unions about a number of vacancies in the department, as well as concerns about the terms and conditions of employment and pensions. Sinckler says these issues have been reviewed by a select team of senior officials, and every effort is being made to ensure all workers are treated fairly.
An issue developed during the course of what we're doing about what level people transition at in terms of this securitization of their pensions. The goal is that nobody should be in a less advantageous position for having transition, and that is in the legislation, that is in the policy document that we took to Parliament, and government is committed to that. So an issue arose with the pensions. We asked the senior staff who deal with these issues, Civil Service, PS Civil Service, Director of Finance, and of course Head of the Civil Service, PS Finance, Auditor General, and Accountant General, to sit in the team and look at it. They have done so. They have come up with what we believe is the appropriate route to take in resolution of this issue, and a cabinet paper is being prepared. It should go to cabinet very shortly. It will come, of course, I believe, under the civil service, which is with the Prime Minister's office. And once that is done, we will effect the necessary change to ensure that any loopholes that exist that may disadvantage anybody in the system going opting to transition, that could be tightly closed.
Meanwhile, there's good news on the labor front. The latest unemployment figures from the Barbados Statistical Service show that unemployment stands at 9.3% for the first quarter of the year. More males are holding jobs when compared to females. Of the 131,300 employed Barbadians, just over 67,000 are men, while 64,000 females are working. Overall, 13,600 people are unemployed. The wholesale and retail sector generates the most jobs. More than 20,000 Barbadians are employed there, and the accommodation and food services sector is next in line, employing just over 17,000 people.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
To news from the region, former St. Lucia Prime Minister and political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, Dr. Kenny Anthony, has broken his almost 1 month silence since being booted out of office in the June 6 general election. Dr. Anthony spoke exclusively to HTS News Force and for the first time opened up about the huge loss and his political future.
Immediately after the SLP defeat, you announced your resignation from the political leadership.
Right.
Now, for some, the UWP's victory was a surprise, and your announcement of resignation was maybe equally as surprising. Can you tell us why you decided to step down?
Okay, that's what honorable people do, people of integrity do, Riani. If you look at the recent events in the United Kingdom, for example, the morning after the Brexit vote, when the majority of the people of the United Kingdom decided that they would prefer to leave the European Union, Prime Minister Cameron announced his resignation immediately. Of course, since then, that has been followed by other adjustments, other resignations. And having lost 2 general elections, very clearly, I would not have had the credibility to continue as political leader, or for that matter, as leader of the opposition. And there are usual specific events following a general election. When a party has lost a general election, there's always the anguish, there's always the pain, there's always the tears. It's difficult emotionally, and people spend time on that. Once that phase is over, then obviously they look for the explanations, and people latch on to the simplest of explanations as to why a political party is defeated. And very clearly, the sooner that I made my exit, the better, because I'm pretty certain, as you probably would know, that any political leader who has led a party into elections and has lost the election has to take responsibility for defeat and the loss. And resignation is one way of taking responsibility for defeat and loss.
On the international scene, a group of Brazilian scientists has detected a drug-resistant bacteria growing off some of Rio de Janeiro's most stunning beaches. It comes a month before the city hosts the 2016 Olympic Games. According to the lead researcher, the superbacteria entered the city waterways when sewage coming from local hospitals got channeled into the bay.
Researchers at the Rio Federal University tested the city's beaches for a year and discovered high levels of the dreaded superbug, drug-resistant bacteria that have been turning up in hospitals. the marvelous city. Stunning views and golden beaches, but you might think twice before you splash in. Lurking under Rio's waters, raw sewage, and now what scientists describe as super bacteria. Researchers at the Rio Federal University tested the city's beaches for a year and discovered high levels of the dreaded superbug, drug-resistant bacteria that have been turning up in hospitals.
We believe that through hospital sewage, it goes to the municipal sewage and it gets to the Guanabara Bay or through other rivers, and it finally gets to the beach.
The highest levels of superbacteria found on the shores of Guanabara Bay, site of the Olympic sailing event a month from now. German Paralympic sailor Heiko Kroger says you can't be overcautious.
It's a nice sailing area, but every time you get some water in your face, it feels like there's some alien enemy entering your face. So I keep my nose and my lips closed.
His colleague, Eric Heil, blamed the bacteria-infested waters for a skin infection he got while training. Authorities, however, say athletes and visitors will be safe, and the sailing arena has internationally acceptable levels of bacteria.
And that CNN report brings us to the end of our news update. But for the very latest, visit our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. Also, subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. To have a wonderful day.